Wow. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Where's the Ace Attorney? There it is. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. But this time we're playing the Great Ace Attorney 2. Though I don't know what happens if I push continue. Doesn't continue just take me back to... Yeah, that should only take me back to there. I have no idea if I'm supposed to start a new game here. I imagine I have to, but I have no idea. Actually, let's see what happens. What happens if I push continue? Does it take me back to the same spot, or does it ask me for... No. Okay. Back to title then. No saving. Yes, I understand. Hi, Bomb. Okay, so today I have some really bad fucking allergies. I've taken Zyrtec, I've taken my special rhinitis medication, I've taken Flonase. Nothing is helping my nose. I've been, and I know what is actually bothering me. My stupid mom's husband... No, my mom's stupid husband decided to be a good idea to spray Axe body spray on himself before he went to bed. That triggers rhinitis. Badly. So I am struggling right now to stay awake and to not blow my nose so much. I have done everything I could at my side to be able to deal with it, but I can't. So we're trying our best. Anyway, let's do this. Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Last stream, we found out that the Morse code that was from Case 5, those state secrets, was actually Japanese Morse code, and it had 4 names on it. Why though? What the fuck? Lamau? Yeah, I don't know, man. He's Mexican. I don't know why he cares about this way he smells at the time of sleeping. But all I know is that when I went to the kitchen and I passed by him while he was sleeping, I smelled the goddamn axe or whatever it was he was using, and it murdered my nose right there and then. And I knew something was wrong because last night, after the Undertale stream, I was like, why is my nose struggling so bad right now? And it was because of him. Like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just pop another Flonase. I'm sorry, rhinitis medication, because this is fucking stupid. Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't just, like... I'm trying my best, but my best is just not good enough when it comes to rhinitis. It tastes awful. You're probably wondering, why the fuck are you eating it? I'm not. This medication has a habit of going down, or it goes up your nose and down your throat, because that's how the nose connects. And it sucks. It fucking sucks. Because I'm just like, yeah, the medication helps, but fuck me, does it taste awful when it actually helps. Right, as I was saying, on the last stream we found out that the Morse code was Japanese Morse code. And it had 4 names on it. It had Kazuma as one of the names. It had Dr. Wilson as another one of the names, which is Iris' father. And then 2 other names who I don't remember right now. We never found out anything about the rest of, like, why the names are there in the first place. All we know at the moment, based on just what we know, is Kazuma and Dr. Dre Wilson are both, or Dr. John Wilson are dead. That's it. They were killed in some way. Kazuma was a complete accident. I'm not sure about Wilson, though, if that was an accident. The other 2, no idea, and I don't even remember the other 2's name, so we'll just have to figure out where this goes, right? Cutscene!
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean, those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with another awful case.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
We never did find anything about that woman, did we? Whoa!
So please, I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
Episode 1. The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Huh. Well, that's a great way to start, huh? Also, we're back in Japanese port. Supreme Court of Judicator. Defendant's Antechamber. Well, you never about to find out, right? I was like, we never found out about that later. Oh, we're never gonna find out now, ever, again, because she's dead. Unless that giant wound on her back means she lived. Oh, so we're playing the Susato. Interesting. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicator of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Chapter 1's connecting. Ah, good, you're here. Mikutoba, how you doing? Long time no see, even though I haven't seen you for you in a long time. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Why do you have wide eyes, Susato? Are you starting to pick up habits from Ryu? Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous. I feel utterly nauseated. The third time you get to play as a lady in the Ace Attorney series. That's kind of strange how it's only the third time. And, like, how many fucking games now? Like, 8 games? 9 games, maybe? And that's not even including the investigation stuff with Edgeworth. I must wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University, who is also apparently very sick, but I guess he's fine now. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. Hold on a minute. Who's the second, then? I know the first one is, obviously, Mia Fey. The third one is Susato, but who's the second one? Wait. Isn't that orange-haired girl? Who wears, like, a yellow jacket? I want to say yellow jacket, but I don't remember her. For attire. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And, of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me? Cute. Athena Sykes. Yeah, I never got to yeah, okay. I never saw a damn thing about Dual Destiny. So I don't know anything about Dual Destiny. Is that the same one where Apollo gets knocked out in the courtroom? When the courtroom is completely, like, bombed or something? And he's missing an eye, it feels like. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right, Miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. Yeah, I didn't see very much of Dual Destiny. The only thing I saw of Dual Destiny was, one specific cutscene, which is the one I just mentioned, where Apollo falls and faints somewhere inside of a courtroom. It's all broken up. Punished Apollo? Punished Apollo? The fuck did that game? Rei Membami. Born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the university research lab helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. You feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Oh, that's adorable. Middle Gear reference? Really? You know what? I should watch some videos on what happened in Dual Destiny. Come on, internet. On today, on a Saturday? I mean, it makes sense you're gonna do this to me on a fucking Saturday, but seriously? Here, you guys get to see the kilobytes as well. Go, have kilobytes. You get to see how crappy my internet is today. Well, worst case scenario, if I can't stream, I can at least link you guys to Nemi stream. That's the best I can do. Obviously, I can't redirect from YouTube to Twitch, but at least I can still link it, I guess. Never fails to amuse me just how shit my internet is. Da, 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 da. Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sundays not so much. Saturdays, yes. 9% of frames have been dropped so far. Can't believe this. I can believe this. I don't want to believe this. Oh, my entire life is a fucking lie when you have shitty internet. Anyway, Suzato, apparently you're gallant. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. Oh, it would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh? What do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yeah, right, exactly. Disguise? And the internet again. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Man, okay, look, internet, for the love of fucking Christ, can we have some action? No, we can't. We literally can't have any good internet. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. I'm just gonna throw my fucking glasses cleaner square thing at my monitor, because I don't have anything else to do right now. Internet, work. I'm throwing a cloth at the monitor because that's my form of anger at this juncture. Please, internet, you can work. My cat's wondering what the fuck I'm doing right now. Yeah. I just want to work, internet. I just want you to work, internet. Enter fucking net. Internet, net. 12, almost 13% frames dropped. And we've only been live for 19 minutes. What does that translate to? I don't even know. I don't feel like doing the math. But I can't just keep seeing zeros and... You know, I think I'd give up already. I'm gonna give it 6 more minutes, top. If by 25 minutes I am still dropping frames like this, I'm just gonna end the stream. I don't even want to deal with it anymore. Mikotoba, I throw this at your face. Bum, 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 bum. I mean, you guys can't even see it, but if you're wondering what I'm throwing, it's not Zoe, but it's one of these little cloth things that you use to clean glasses. You know, this thing. I throw it at Zoe's face, but it doesn't really do anything to her. It's translate to the internet cucking me of Ace Attorney. It's cucking me out of Ace Attorney as well. It's so infuriating. I also forgot to change the decibels on this stupid thing. I just want to play the Ace Attorney. Woo! We're back, baby. We're reconnected. I don't know how many frames you've dropped now because it decided to reset to 0. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? At this point, I don't even know. I just think this game sucks. No, not the game. The game is great. The game is fantastic. 13% frames, 15%, 17%, 20%. 21%, 23%, 25%, 26%. You guys know what you can't see? You can't see that. Is there a way for me to fix that for you? So that you can actually see that? You know what would be better if I just get a second one? If I just get a second thing that I can put on top of there. I know how to do that. Make a copy of it. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Move that up there, right on top of it. And then we're gonna move this right over yonder. Move this over yonder. You guys should be able to get that. Drop frames. Gonna have to make it smaller in order for you to see the full drop frames, but you'll get the fucking idea. There you go. Now you know how many drop frames I'm getting. Just to, like, hammer the point, my internet is dog shit. I'm giving it 2 more minutes. If it don't even out, I can't do anything. Honestly, that was a smart idea, having that in. You know the problem with that, though, is I would do a window capture instead. Not like you're going to be able to hear this, but I would do a window capture instead. But OBS does not like being window captured. It refuses to show anything when you window capture it. So I have to do a display capture of that spot. But every time I do a display capture, if I decide to tab over to like here, I'll put a sticky note over this. I put the sticky note over this, it starts making it disappear. I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. Aside from display capture, but what am I gonna do? If I want to show you how garbage my internet is, I have to do it this way. Look how many fucking frames I've dropped, though. 50% of my frames are gone. This world is fucking cool. Nothing is working for me. Everybody fucking hates me. Well, actually, my internet hates me. Absolutely, my internet hates me. Actually, you know what? I have an idea. I have a great idea. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop the stream, but I'm not gonna end the stream. Unless it decides to come back now. Hmm? Nope. Nope. I was holding my breath there. And it was like, is it actually listening now? Yeah, no. Okay, no, seriously, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the pause menu. I'm gonna save the game right now, which is strange. In a weird spot to save it at. And I'm gonna put the audio to off for now. And I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm not gonna end the broadcast. It's very weird of an idea to do that, but I will make an announcement in Discord and on Twitter when my internet starts to come back. That being said, that's gonna be weird. So yeah, for now we're just gonna stop and let this internet thing sort itself out. I'll check back with you guys in like half an hour, maybe an hour and a half. In the meantime, here's what I want you to do. Here's what I think you should be doing. If I could just bloody find where I'm going. I want you to go over to this link. Go watch her. Well, this crap works itself out. So yeah, that's all I got. I will end the stream. Well, I will stop the stream here, but I won't end broadcast. Come back in like an hour and a half or something. Hey, we're back. Are we back though? I don't know. It says we have no dropped frames, but that could be a total lie. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna check for this stream. Is it actually working? Or is it dead? Is it dead for good? I don't know. It looks like it's working. On YouTube at least. But I don't know. It's been a couple hours now. I accidentally fell asleep at some point to try and in a vain attempt to try and stop my allergies. So, what do we do here? How about this? Let's make a thing being like, we're back. Pick up my share link. And I'm gonna make a tweet about it. The stream is back. Hopefully it lasts. And I forgot to make... I gotta delete that. Delete! Do it again! The stream is back! Hopefully. And then get the stupid tags, because I forgot to grab the tags. All the tags. Every tag. These tags. Post. And that should be it. That should be all the work I can provide. Whether or not we're able to actually continue is up in the air. But oh my god, dude. Today is hot. Today is really hot. Like, I woke up from the little nap and I'm like, why am I on fire? Not literally on fire, mind you, but why am I on fire? But at least what seems to be my allergy problem is more or less gone. Rhinitis problem? I don't know what problem to call. I don't know what problem to call it at this point. But I did eat. I did do my things. The only thing I didn't do yet was check my blood sugar. Literally the only thing I forgot to do. Why don't I just do that right now? It's not like it takes that long to do it anyway. All I need to do, grab a dumb needle thing, open up this good old blood sugar checker, load it in, open up the thingy, get a thingy, put it in the thingy, load it up, fire, ow. Zoe's looking at me. No, you can't have my blood, Zoe. I feel like you've had my blood before at some point, and I don't feel comfortable about knowing that fact. Hey, my blood sugar's not that bad right now. Cool. We're in the clear, but I'm still going to take my medication, regardless of that fact. The only reason I even did the test is to make sure that my blood sugar wasn't actually, like... Seriously, the only reason I even check the blood sugar right now, despite, like, what's it called? Still, no, Zoe, don't touch that. That's a needle. Despite still, like, being in the normal level of blood sugar is because I gotta make sure it's not at, like, 300 plus or something. If it stayed for 300 plus for too long, I'd go to the hospital, with no exceptions to that rule. Alright. I'm just gonna make a quick viewer check. If there's people here, we can get started. If there's not, we can just do like... Because I don't want people to miss any of the story. As it stands, we've already missed a fuck ton of things happening, so... What was gonna happen before my internet decided to be, oh, too bad, you don't have internet anymore. Or at least good working upload internet. We only found out that Susato is apparently in a disguise. And then we don't know anything else after that because that's when the internet kind of just decided to tank. But nobody here yet. Do I just keep going? Do I go with it? Do I roll with it? Normally when I do the streams, everything's all fine and dandy, but right now it's like, should I be doing anything? I don't know. Well, let's just go with it. Yeah, let's just go with it. A disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? Oh wow, she noticed. I'm so sorry I didn't say anything I didn't even get to read it. I'm so sorry I didn't say anything sooner, Ray. It's just that... No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? This varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start, but I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted in the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Oh, what's the rule here then? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me? Of course! You're my greatest friend. Wow, this is very fucking familiar, isn't it? Did we just get a red flag? Of someone gonna... A death flag? Not a red flag, a death flag? I just worried that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already, and yet just because you're a woman... What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray? Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just that... You really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Damn, a 5-hour stream? Yeah, damn. I wonder, you know, Bomb, I wonder how the VOD is gonna look. With that big-ass gap in between. I don't think it'll affect it, but we'll find out when I end the stream at some point. Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Yeah, but now you just called her your best friend, but that's a bunch of death flags all over the place because of that. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. According to Ryu. And Kazuma. That means so much to me, Susato. Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Unfortunately. Oh. Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There was simply no other way, that's all there is to it. Father? You haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this? Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out there that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. Why does this always seem so familiar? I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. So we have two newbies in the courtroom, huh? Is that what's going to be happening right now? I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, goddamn, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for a trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo. Nero Odo. I still like that. I still like that little crappy name that Gina gave. Nero Odo, because she couldn't pronounce Naruhodo. Supreme Court Adjudicator, courtroom number 1. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membami. Oh my god. This guy again. I thought we were done with Pain. I know it's not Pain, but I thought we were done with his entire family lineage for the day. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Defense Counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. Ready! Oh my god, she's got the same thing that Ryu does. She does look awesome, though. I love it. Ah, yes. Counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryotaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Ryotaro Naruhodo. Is that correct? Sorry. Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name to spur the mind. Well, counsel. Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro, he who is vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. Ah. It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first, and not overdo it. And those wild, wild eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be You may be thinking of Ryo Nasuki Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of the study program. This is, his cousin. That's right. Ryotaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them! Tut, tut, tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Suzato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Oh, Please be careful, Ray. Tish! What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest he is not. Ugh, I'm so nervous. She picked up the habit, dude. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are wont to flit. Eyes are wont to flit? Like it or not, eyes aren't wont to flit. Did you fuck up your your brain talk? What does that mean? Wont to flit? Hold up. What does that mean? I've never heard this phrase before, and I've never seen won't without a apostrophe. The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may very well affect the very future of our empire. Just like the trial 9 months ago, and yet for proceedings of such importance we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. Yep, on the case of, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this would be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Oh, she took off the coat. Alright, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple. Very well, to start with, you will state the name of the victim. Whew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried, but she did. Huh? What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank. What is that phrasing? It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and, in that guise, even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret, you need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case, in the court record. That's right, just use blub blub to open the court record. Then you need to flip to the people section with blub blub. And don't take too long over it, His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright, check the court record with bleh. And that's where the information I need will be. I'm about to won't lose mind. I'm waiting, counsel. Post-mortem. I was trying to open the court record before the case started. I was like, where's the court record button? Post-mortem report. Time of death just after 2 p.m. Death is believed to be due to the trauma to the victim's lung from a knife blade. Only a single wound was identified. Giselle Brett completely killed off. Never gonna find out what the hell was her deal. Time of death, 11th of August, around 2 p.m. ascertained by examination and witness statements. Single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes and would have been extremely painful. Note: extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. Was she choked or something? The victim of the case, who was a former British exchange student, 9 months ago she was found guilty of the murder of visiting Professor John Wilson. She was found guilty but was walking around? Grading Council. What is the name of the victim in this case? Giselle.
Yes!
Yes! The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary? I can't pronounce it anymore. You will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with her own empire's judicial history? I guess I should also mention Susato has some unique music for her in the trial. Really? Obviously, you wouldn't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of a killer.
Yes!
Damn! Her first time slamming the desk and she's got some power. 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba? Question mark. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. She says she does better than the squeaky toy review. I'm waiting to hear her squeaky toyness. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. What? It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Hi, Nemi. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And they failed to do that? Wow. Also, I may leave soon. There's currently a power outage and I didn't charge my phone all the way. Ah, rip. I guess that's what happens when my stream goes on for 5 hours of nothing. And yet, the very day before her departure, the English woman was killed. Only the day before? That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Only one. Now a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Achi. I should tell you that your magical ring device is currently vibrating in your pocket and it's very painful and annoying. Pick up your phone. Frankie, you're not calling me, and also I'm getting close to banning you over that. It's like the second or third time you've done this now. Take a chill pill, Frankie. Take a chill pill. As is your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight. Ooh. On the outskirts of the Imperial capital under a bright blue sky at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lungs, an injury which proved fatal. Yeah, I'm gonna try getting stabbed in the lungs. Erecting. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. Huh? The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady. Okay, what's the motive, though? Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. That's certainly true. The prosecution summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up on the prosecution counsel on what he said about a powerful motive, for one, but... You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut, tut, tut. Is the Yoko boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon. No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Showed my bestie today's streams meme. She has yet to stop laughing at me in voicemails. Those memes are fantastic, though. Membami-san, you are a research assistant in the Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility. Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago? The dog bone collar, property of Ghost. Congratulations, Nemi, you're owned by Ghost. The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him. Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. She has no control. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency. I need to commission Nemi and Ghost at some point. Gotta happen. Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details and something we can use to bolster our defense. Well, first off, they weren't alone together, so... Please, I'm begging you. Membami-san. Yes? What is it? Naruhodo-san. I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryotaro Suzato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett to her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life. No! Commission Ghost voice actor and make him talk about Nemi. I think it's... are super expensive. I've never ever commissioned a voice actor before though, so I have no idea how that goes. Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. I mean, it's sound logic, but that's not how it works. Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel. Tish! The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him go, Ju. I want a churro. Oh dear, this is really terrifying, but Father's right. We need more information. As a lawyer, I gotta pick up the other one. All of them? Okay. If I may, Prosecutor Achi. What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? I hate this guy. I like Pain more. I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. Ha! My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is a curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin's... No, that's not what I meant! I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? Good question. I made a 6K channel point redeem that'll make me simp. Bet I'm gonna save for it. I'm saving for something, but I'm not telling you what it is. Hi, Zoe. You want the toy, Zoe? Of course you want the toy. Now I'm saving up for the 100,000. The one where I forced Nemi to get to stream on the blue Twitch. For old time's sake, I believe. Really? Old time's sake? Miss Britt was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. Stream on the what? On the blue Twitch. Or I guess the blue YouTube. Whatever you want to call it. Trying to make a blue Twitch. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. Hansley. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request? Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal. Oops. Rip. Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. Wait, I have a Fansly account. You do? Wow. I don't. I think I don't. I don't think I do. In any case, it was decided that with the dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. But in fact, a murder took place. I said don't look at me. It was the young student girl who did it, not I. No one has proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. No, I won't provoke him more. Just made one for fun. I never used it. I believe her though. That's the thing. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid her incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Seeing the murder of the mentor from whom she had such great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty. Those are full of hearts. Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you would be so kind as to peruse this exhibit, a photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Oh, hey, we got photographic prints now. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image. As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have been hidden. The court will accept this photographic as evidence. What is with the emotes? A photographic print of the scene taken by the police just after the incident occurred. Stab wound in the victim's back is clearly visible. As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. I was expecting to see, like... Why does she have multiple masks? Why is that necessary? Anyway, the thing I was curious about is what the hell, why is she holding a pen? And how would she have held, like, any of this stuff? Get hearted, get ghosted, please. Even the swan is dead. Wait, swan? Oh my god, even the swan is dead. Oh my god. Oh wait, maybe those masks are for the swan. Aww. But the swan doesn't even take any... The swan is fine. Or maybe they died from being stuck to the hat of the, Miss Brett. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. Why, Your Excellence, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Witnesses? But who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. That doesn't matter. Maybe bot says hydrate? May as well. Delicious water. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Ugh. Very well then, counsel. Bring forth your witnesses. I, Tatsuki Achi, have been waiting for this moment. Have ya? Sorry? Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse, when that irrelevant little student boy utterly humiliated me. Arrgh! Ryonosuke Naruhodo! Well, yes? This insult to the Achi family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited with age, counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. I forgot about that. Yes, the sniff. Strike the head of a samurai whose top notch has been cut and the bell of culture and enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution? Are you modernizing as well, Council? Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop of my head. Observe the Achi growth. You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown? I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where's the hope exactly? I said silence. Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be the fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. Witnesses, huh? It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. Not wrong. I'm turning my fan on because it is already burning in where I am at right now. I'm sorry, what are you doing here, Mr. Natsumi? I'm sorry, what is that man doing here as well, whose name I completely forgot? Witnesses, please state your name and occupations for the court. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact, yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, a Sensational Success by Soseki Natsumi. And he has a fucking assistant. Hey, Calculus, we have a -7 degrees. Calculus. Oh my god. Hey, Calculus. Is my name Calculus now? Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the province, please. You needn't be in all of me. I needn't? Alright, my name is Calculus then. It's only natural that you'd feel nervous in my presence, but all of you please relax. Call me Soseki even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Suzato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun. Yes, of course, I know. I presume Soseki-san wouldn't have forgotten about me. I could certainly not forever forget him. I don't think anyone could forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so, since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Come on, we've seen... Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Great, now I have to expose them for lies. This is gonna be fucking... I don't even think they're gonna be lying. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san? Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about 2 former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snap shots, scribble stories, and scooper my privacy. Scopper? Why do you have a What is it with this dude behind him, though? As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my bleh? I know how that word is pronounced, but I don't know how to pronounce that word. Provincial? Provincial? Struggling student friend, I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically threw that paper at me. Soseki Natsumi article. A newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The debate became quite spirited. Anyway, following my interview with the professor... Hold on just a minute. Is that Wagahai? That's not Wagahai. Which cat is that? I don't know which cat that is. The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coasts. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. I see you still have your cough. But unfortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duties flawlessly. Bullshit. Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but if only I had! I'd never had seen that awful sight! Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. I'm gonna have my voice die because of Natsumi. Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret I am. Witness testimony. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes! That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly. Well, that's fucking false. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Again, that's also false. It's only one stab wound, according to what the court record said. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw that. Single deep stab wound. I almost don't even want to press. The very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence. What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What? I'm sorry, unless Ray owns that pen. Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved in the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membami. The initials of the defendant. You sure it's the initials? This fountain pen would be admitted immediately as critical evidence. I would like to look at the pen, please. So, have I omitted anything? Did you? I'm not even allowed to examine it. Okay. Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel. I don't understand. The prosecutor Achi of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san! Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes. Yeah, me. Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin Ryotaro, pull yourself together, please. Alright, I've seen this countless times as your judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness's testimony to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer should handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. I don't even need to try with this one because there's literally a lie right there in the first fucking thing. I still want to press because I want to see the story, or what they say. I want to press.
Hold it!
Hold it! In that jaunty disguise. Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it wasn't the first I've worn this swimsuit for a dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the English woman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried and tested outfit was the answer? Being able to blend flawlessly into the crowd is an important part of a detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only my turtle, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water. But there was no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, really, was there? If that made you late arriving on the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong. Oh, jeez. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment.
Hold it!
Ah, you're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Soseki-san. In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens. Kya! Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. Renowned authors aren't wont to describing things. What is it with this fucking word popping up lately? Renowned authors aren't wont to describing things, so... The English is killing me right now. Soseki-san wasn't at all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun. Although, the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand. Ah, I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off hot... What? Oh my god. No writer says that.
Hold it!
Wait, by pair, you don't mean to say But how could that be? No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I mean the victim and the defendant, Rei Mbami-san. Oh, it would have been helpful if you could have just said that from the outset. If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes. Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish. Very foolish. It really was an outside chance. I just wish I'd realized that before I said something silly. So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut? Well, it was a sorry sight. A really grisly scene. I parted the Norrin court curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped inside only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled on the sand. My glasses very nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes. How thoroughly appalling. Ugh, he doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Suisaki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder? Ah, you'd like a literary man's opinion?
Hold it!
Stabbed wildly. Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it? Oh, indeed. The terrible spectre, the terrapin inspector, the bloody torrent, the author's torment. Eek! Every sight, every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least, as a future literary sensation. Counsel, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream? What on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream? Oh, no, ahem. No, what are you insinuating? I'm as manly as a Japanese man as you. I wonder if I might interject here, Soseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression. Were your words just now, I believe? The twitch. The eyebrow twitch and the eyes twitch. Ah, so do you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you've described? I'm right back to his old habits. No! I mean, yes! I mean, I know what I saw! My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream, hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial. It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn. I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become. Oh dear, how awkward. He is kind of dumb like that. Anyway, we know this is wrong, but we're just gonna press it at least. She was stabbed multiple times? How can you be sure of that? Very simply, from the blood on the blade. The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air. Yes, that's right. I saw it too. Oh. And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene. Yes, that's right. I saw it too. And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly. Yes, right, saw it too! Maybe a year in London was too much for him. He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument is sound, at least. Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly? That's just my personal opinion, of course. My God, Susato! Was that... Counsel, you refrain from mocking the witness. Oh no, I just have so many thoughts whirling around in my head. It's all I can do to stand here wide-eyed and mute. Goodness, my dear, you must really try to calm down. But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? Because we saw it. I don't see either of them would have any reason to lie. What you must remember, I think, is that the witnesses may inadvertently lie at times, for various reasons. A misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, a delusion even. Ah, a delusion. What's important is that we determine the truth, and there's only one sure way to do that. Yes, with evidence, of course. Spoken like a true judicial assistant. During the witness testimony, you can use blah 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 to pick the blah 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 blah. They need to listen carefully to each statement and compare what's said to the details of the court record. Find some conflicting information, that may be the inconsistency you're looking for. Yes, it's all about the inconsistencies. I get it. Come on, let's go. I want to present the evidence now. I mean, I know this first case is always a tutorial case, but was it really necessary to have a tutorial case on the second game, even though technically these games are linked? Bum 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 bum. Don't forget, you can have the witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember, so those wide eyes are quite forgivable. And besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl. You're right. I need to listen to the testimony again from the start. But I already got the evidence. Doom, 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 doom. Bum, 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 bum.
Objection!
Objection! Nice. With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. But what's the meaning of that menacing pose, counsel? I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? How? Not you, Soseki-san. The query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me? In your statement just now. Listen to that song, by the way. You said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut. The defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, counsel. Oh, look, she's got her book. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Ah. In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Soseki-san. Me? You claim to have seen Membami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly. But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. Ah, true! Then what exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, your excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't be! Excellent work, Suzato. You exploded at them with that objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically. Tish! Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like that in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the show. You're right, there were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who was only half a head of hair. Slander! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Yeah, I figured that one out. All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim, and with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too? The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife? Ah, yes, going for the jugular. What does father mean by that? Let the court hear her answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled out the knife blade of the victim's body was surely so she could save her life, maybe? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury. Indeed, giving her time to take hold of this pen of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. The point is, being a medical research assistant, Membani-san was compared to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Everyone's looking at me like I'm stupid, and even when I think about it, it's a stupid idea. You never pull out the knife when you get stabbed. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem that this is the best we can expect of this young yokel. Indeed. Is this just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense, I mean. Slipshod? Tish! An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. Very well, Inspector, I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I would do so flawlessly. Forensic Medicine Primer. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. Yup, right there. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget, the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. That's a very tight-knit fucking thing, or testimony. Is that what you said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes, think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. Ha! This is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village should have had such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true what they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If you were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. Sorry, I'm grabbing myself a snack. Even though I just had some food, I am still very hungry. No, Zoe. You're not allowed to have this. But then why would have Ray done it? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal to Miss Brett? I don't know. I don't know. The best answer you can give. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but... could my friend actually have... Suzato. Yes? Pull yourself together. You mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Ah. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards. Damn. Okay. I understand. Leaving your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. But this is such a tight-knit freaking testimony, though. You can really fight that one. Oh, we'll just press then, because I can't think of anything else to do but press. Bum 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 bum. You say doing without thinking could be a problem. Does that mean that if you use due care and attention, it would be alright? I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really, but... The blade is like a stopper in the wound. Remove it and a serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing without thinking would be madness. You can't just do it. Oh. Well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath. Ugh. Back to the witness testimony, please. I'm super screwed on this one. I don't think I can use a piece of evidence I have to even, like, get out of it. In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Which is... clearly, the defendant Ray Membami-san does not possess an ounce of sin! What the fuck? What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense. Well, I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it. Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing. Oh dear, that recoiled on me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see now that this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Membami's-san would certainly have been aware of it.
Hold it!
But what if? But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. This woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally. Oh, but irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a little too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument. Literally, the detective told Susato, "You're too much of a male to understand females."
Hold it!
Man, I hate my nose. Whatever the motive, it isn't just, what? It isn't, what? It just isn't in Minbami-san's nature to do something so awful. But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. But you don't know the defendant. And you, counsel, do not appear to know the law. Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings. With this fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused. So do I. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please. Ah, yes. Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Minbami-san.
Hold it!
I don't really have anything from this one. Oh yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Minbami-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant despite her being a woman. That she was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Minbami-san's abilities. Clearly the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. The fundamentals? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You need to take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too. Ah. I realize this is your first time playing the role of a lawyer in the courtroom, so if you need reminding of the rudiments, you only need to ask. I'll do my best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record. It's an idea. I don't know what to do, though. Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their hands. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail. Finally, I can do that now. Ah, by the look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. Maybe just find a clue. Yes, I'll do it straight away. See, that was also another button I was missing. The examine button. I haven't been able to examine things. There's some sort of emblem here, look. But it isn't a Yume University one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray. There you go. It carries the initials RM, as well as an emblem of some description. So there we go about the RM at least. The RM initials are very clearly engraved here, and the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is a very clearly a message too. To identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there could be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case. If you take off the pen's lid... Oh, it's just a standard pen. What am I supposed to get from that? Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? What? This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib. Is something wrong, Father? Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all. Oh yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Fountain pen bearing the initials RM and the emblem of some description. There's a very small amount of liquid still inside the ink reservoir. Wow, I did not think examining the pen was going to be so, thorough. And we can finally examine the newspaper, too. Raucous England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, isn't it, Father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment for his hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you weren't hurt. This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive! Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Lab. From Yume's medical research? Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying that you didn't know? As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard any such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned this information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioned in this story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Ray in charge of the project. Ray? She was managing it? If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it. We need to read this article very carefully. The article about the poison has been entered into the court record. Ah, so we have a new piece of evidence now, the back part of it. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Lab. Following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Notsami on 11th August, it comes to light that a very disturbing incident took place. A deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science lab was stolen. Deadly in tiny quantities, even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Why is the poison being developed? Onset of symptoms occur in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. Such symptoms would be subjective if it's this toxin. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. Geneva Convention, more like Geneva Suggestions. What if, though? What if, though? What if the reasoning... Hold on, I haven't looked at everything yet. No, I can't look at that. Okay. Can I look at anything here? No. So I looked at everything. What if, though? This is the answer. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. But...
Objection!
The poison. No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? Ha! The Yoko not only has a poor grasp of the law, but also a poor loser. But is also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from the laboratory at Imperial Yume Uni. The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But, Prosecutor Achi, you will let the defense speak. But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on this kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion. Your Excellency! Yes, of course. Thank you. I would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... oh shit. What part of it? Okay, hold on. Nobody cares if it was stolen. Deadly in small quantities, and yeah, it's deadly in small quantities. Okay. Tiny quantities, sorry, not small quantities. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on the knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting if the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Mbami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible? Yes, the truth is... Ooh, that song, though. It was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What?
Objection!
This is complete and utter nonsense. Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold. Duh. Oh, please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive, but instead you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, yokel? Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? You can't possibly... From your expression, counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency, I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times, from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between the case and the poison in the newspaper article? Much as I don't want to do it, it's that. How exactly would you explain this piece of evidence connected to the newspaper article? It's wrong. It's probably wrong. Truth, I'm not really sure. But my father always taught me to ask my elders whenever I was in trouble, so I thought I should ask your opinion, Your Excellency. If it is advice you seek, counsel, then I suggest that before indiscriminately thrusting evidence under my nose, why not thrust it under the nose of the professor at your side? I think he means you. Good grief, thrusting that under my nose isn't going to solve anything here. We must use our heads. The article in the paper had details of the toxin. Now, where have we seen similar details? Does nowhere come to mind? Ah, you mean I had to search through all the evidence looking for that? If I'm not mistaken, it appears the advice of your elders is giving you an idea. Yeah, I guess I was wrong. Okay, fine. Yes, I'd like another chance to present evidence. Okay, well, Oh, did you look at that? Extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim's both eyes. Look what happens here, though. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. But which one do I link? A link between this and the poison? I guess the post-mortem report, right? Yeah. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Ah! Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death? Tisk, well... Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was an extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective? In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. What? If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely, yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Prosecutor Achi, I think you agree that this is very compelling evidence. Tisk, you yokel student and yokel professor! Objection! I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. No. Eugen Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense's counsel argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the lab to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper. I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision. Father. Tisk, a pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on a killing sprees. That's totally unfounded. Huh? Oh, what are you doing there? None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Hey, Membami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated. But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day. What? So you knew? I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course, it was the dainty Englishwoman. Miss Giselle Brett? That's why I decided to join the little group of going to the seaside. Inside the beachhead, I confronted Miss Brett. but she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly to me as if she knew she was untouchable. Oh, damn. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. Huh? That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison. My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips while I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back. And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade. Yes, if that amount had entered... If the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here, in this courtroom now.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Membami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed? Well, I don't think she can answer that. You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge. It could be that too, but I don't buy it. I gotta blow my nose again, hold on.
Objection!
Never, ever. Never, ever. I seriously hate my nose. No matter how much I try to stave off whatever is bothering it, nothing works. But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive. What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. Come here, Zoe. Come here. Come here. Come here. It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. You will produce the aforementioned evidence in once, Prosecutor Achi. Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I'd imagine there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. Oh. Who took this picture? Can a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Membami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true! No! I don't believe it. Ow. Yeah, that's pretty damning. That's extremely damning. Order! 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 Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom? Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Go for now. Suzato is starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence. Yeah, that one's pretty freaking bad. Can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve this entire time. Oh shit, dude. The only thing we're missing at this point is the weapon. We're missing the weapon as a, what do you call it? As a, what is it? As evidence, that's what we're missing. We're missing that. It's such a stark image, I'm generally lost for words. Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? Hey.
Objection!
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. I think that's pretty fucking important.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday, but there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown. Goodness. Are we to understand, then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment, because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, did you? Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that the print so eloquently expresses, but the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged at the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without a doubt the most compelling evidence presented to this court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe this conclusion is clear. Oh no, we're fucked. Cesaro, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there could be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Wei withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. Tish, you have plenty of time to rule your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi Achi in the court of law. I can't determine who took this photograph, and the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. And there is one way, actually. Well, counsel? Your Excellency, the burning question is who took the photograph, and the truth is, I have an answer. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. But as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What? Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer?
Take that!
It's gotta be this thing, because it has an emblem on it. The piece of evidence in question is this. It's wrong? Still? I'm afraid, counsel, that when presenting evidence, you must learn to temper those wide, nervous eyes. Okay. Is there something I missed? Is there actually something I missed? Also, where is that photo being taken from? What the heck? I actually have no idea. I actually have no idea. Deadly poison, small quantities, commissioned by the military, a fountain pen which I can't use, for some reason. I am confused. I don't have Bomb here to help me out, and I don't have anyone who wants to help me out. Hey, guys, help. I need help. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't fucking know. Wait, what was that about the photograph? Quite an exchange, over-animated. Photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. Oh! 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 Oh, hey, look. Do you see that right there? That lightning symbol right there? I noticed it on the picture as well. How it's right there. We have a link. Strange, isn't it? Because it's not on this photo.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again? Rascuous England attorneys tell all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes, indeed. They had already caught my eye, as it happens. Ha! What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of a tree or the like. There are no trees growing inside my lab at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph... Good gracious! Would have never spotted that without checking a little deeper. Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us nothing. Ha! Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council. You stupid dumbass. You look as dumb as me. What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is the result of a photographer's technique or a camera defect. It's gotta be a technique. I believe the pattern may be the result of a particular quirk of the photographer when taking a picture. You believe? What quirk could possibly produce such consistent markings? Clearly, it must be a quirk that's quite unimaginable. I repeat, Council, what would the nature of this quirk? Well, I can't really imagine, of course. Oh, for God's sakes, because there is no quirk. It's time to consider another more credible option, I think. Come on. You're killing me over here, guys. The camera defect, then. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with this device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Achi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Ah. That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. What? Wah! Go. What? The fuck was that? I see why you were called a ratchous England returnee. What are you yelling about? You've already testified. It's many memo, I tell you, many memo. Memo. Thank you for the posing, Mr. Natsume. Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say many memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Man, that's a hard name to say for some reason. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. Ah, now that he mentions it... Wait. No way. Could that same reporter be... A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. Therefore, there I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Many Memo. But you're saying this picture was taken by Many Memo, yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. You are adjourned for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. That's not gonna work, because we literally just looked that it's not detectable. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. If they at least have the university, maybe they can do it? Meh. Many mono! Many memo! Many memo! To be continued. I don't know how long this case is, though, but I kind of want to stop right now. I'm starting to burn up, like, horribly badly, and, like, even... I turned off the fan, but, like, today is just weirdly hot. But I also want to see the end of this trial as well. Oh, yeah, no, you know what? I see my... everything dropping on me. I think that was a good time to just go ahead and stop. Yeah, no, we're stopping. Sorry about this internet situation. There is literally nothing I can do about it, though. And because it's dying again, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop the stream for real this time, right here. I wonder how the VOD's gonna look. I hope it's not too bad. But yeah, thank you for at least watching for the few hours that I was on, that I was able to stream. I think it came out to like 2.5 hours of actually streaming, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's far less than that. Hopefully tomorrow it's not as bad. Let's hope. Alright, I wish you all a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night. Subscribe, come join the Discord, follow on Twitter, all that jazz. Bye-bye!